and he's been kind enough and gracious enough to take his time out. And I must tell you, he has to take away lots of his engagements out to meet you, but he's always very, um, uh, really obliges the media, and we feel happy interacting this frequently. Today we'll be touching upon a very important aspect of the railway's massive transformation that is taking place, that is freight operations and business development. There have been lots of queries. I won't take much time and request Chairman Sir to kindly proceed, and we'll take questions later on, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Narayan, and good afternoon to all our media friends. Thank you very much for joining us today here. So today I'm going to talk to you about freight operations and business development. And as we have been talking about that there is a lot of focus on improving the freight, and even during this global pandemic, the indication that freight loading is reviving, that's a very, very positive indication. And in the month of August, our freight loading is even more than the freight loading as compared to last year. We are almost 7% higher than the last year. And to achieve these type of freight loading, even during this global pandemic, a lot of steps have been taken by Ministry of Railway, and I just wanted to brief you about all those important steps which Ministry of Railway has taken. And some of the things are listed here. Basically, we are trying that port traffic should be increased. If I just give you a figure, at JNPT port, only 20% of port traffic is moved by railway, and 80% port traffic moves by road. So there is a lot of steps have been taken to see that port traffic comes to railway, and we should be able to increase the port traffic. Then we have taken many steps to see that non-traditional cargo is attracted towards railway. As we all know that the conventional traffic for railway has been mostly coal, iron ore, and a few other items. But we are making efforts that non-conventional goods should also come to railway. Then we are making efforts to add container traffic from ports. The container traffic which is moving from port, that should increase. There is a focused approach on that. And we have focused on few issues, and that has given us result, and we are going to focus on these issues in a more dedicated manner, so that in future also we are able to increase the freight loading. Some of the items which I would like to mention, that freight train speed has increased. It has gone almost double as compared to last year, and which really provides the quicker turnaround times. And we are also planning that even after passenger trains are introduced post-COVID, we should be able to maintain this speed. And for that purpose only, we are just making a timetable. We call it zero-based timetable. We are trying to work out a de novo timetable where we want to have a separate time slot for running passenger trains, and separate time slot for running freight trains, and separate time slot for maintenance. So by optimizing the operation of passenger and freight, we are making an effort that even after introduction of passenger trains, we should be able to maintain the speed of freight trains to this level. So that is our focus. Lot of incentives have been given. Those incentives comes under the category of tariff and non-tariff. All those details I will be discussing with you in later slides. And the purpose of giving these incentives to increase the volume, and thereafter increase the revenue. The main objective of railway is to see that revenue from the freight increases, and for that volume has to be increased. So whatever incentives are being worked out, whether it is tariff or non-tariff, keeping in view that the freight revenue increases. For increasing freight, there are three major components which I would like to just mention. One is that once we have increased the speed of goods train, the turnaround of wagons have improved, then we will be able to run more freight trains on the same network, and we will be able to utilize those wagons more efficiently. But to get the overall freight growth, we will have to see that our terminals are improved. The goods shed, loading and unloading has to be quicker, and then only the complete cycle of freight operation will become efficient. And third thing is that if we are able to run more freight trains, we are able to utilize our wagons in more efficient manner, then we will have to have additional traffic. And for that, as I mentioned earlier also, that we have developed business development units in division, zones and railway board, and we are interacting with the stakeholders, and we are just trying to make effort that more and more commodities are attracted towards railway so that the overall freight volume increases. So that is the strategy we are keeping. Lot of policies have been liberalized. I will be discussing about it in the later slides. And our objective is to see that we are able to supply rakes as per the demand. Whatever demand is there, we should be able to supply rakes. So that is the way we are trying to work it out, and that is our way forward. Then another very important issue is that we are making efforts to minimize the imported coal, and imported coal has to be substituted by the domestic coal. As you know, the transportation charges for the coal plays a major role, and therefore we are trying to rationalize the coal movement in the country in such a way that more domestic coal is used rather than going for imported coal. So our effort is to minimize the imported coal and to substitute this imported coal by domestic coal. Then to leverage the technology, our freight operation information system is being completely revamped, and we are going to set up a freight e-marketplace which will be basically one-stop logistic solution, and basically this will provide a solution from first mile connectivity to last mile connectivity, and that system is, already has started getting developed, and our target is that December 21 we will be having a totally new freight operation information system which will also work as a freight e-marketplace. Now, some of the initiatives which railway have taken that has been listed here, which I mentioned earlier also, that we have developed a business development units in division, zones and railway board. Speed has been doubled. Then timetable parcel trains have been started on 30th March. 20 pairs of train are running, and in this connection I would like to mention that this is a very big challenge, global pandemic situation, and as Honorable Prime Minister has been guiding us, that we want to convert this challenge into opportunity, and Indian Railway has done exactly same. Apart from doing lot of infrastructure projects, more than 200 infrastructure projects which has improved the mobility, we have improved our speed of trains and freight trains, and also we have introduced this timetable parcel train, and lot of stakeholders have been raising this question, asking this question, that what will happen if the passenger trains are introduced, whether these parcel trains will run. So answer to that question is yes. The way we are trying to optimize our timetable, that we should be able to run these parcel trains also. Wherever there is a demand for parcel trains, those parcel trains will continue to run even after the passenger trains are introduced post-COVID. Now, lot of emphasis on opening up of export traffic to neighboring countries like Bangladesh. Already many containers having food items have started going, Then also export traffic to Bangladesh for automobile has started. Then Kisan Rail, as you know that it was inaugurated last week, Kisan Rail, and 2 trips it has already made. We have made an elaborate plan in consultation with Ministry of Agriculture, and in a phased manner we are going to introduce Kisan Rail based on the demands that we are assessing the demand of movement of agriculture items, fruits, vegetables. So the origin and destination has already been mapped by Ministry of Agriculture, and the speciality of these trains that these trains are timetable. They will be running as per the timetable, and they will be stopping at various locations so that all these vegetables, fruits or agriculture produce can be loaded from those stations, and again when they are reaching their destination, there also they will be stopped at various stations, so that these Kisan special trains, they will be able to carry agricultural produce and fruits and vegetables from one area to another area, and it can be loaded at different stations and it can be unloaded at different stations. Then we have started running freight cargo express trains known as Vyapar Mala Express train. We have been talking to stakeholders, and as per their demand, railway has been running these Vyapar Mala express trains. Then lot of initiatives have been taken, tariff and non-tariff initiatives. Some of the details I will be discussing with you in later slides. Goods set being improved on a mission mode. Actually 405 goods sets have been identified. Those are the major goods set, and basically apart from providing the lighting so that all these goods set can be operated in 3 shifts, the road connectivity and even the condition of surface, and even some sort of semi-mechanization of loading and unloading, all these things are being introduced to these goods set, and the main objective is that we should be able to reduce the terminal detention time. All these freight trains can be loaded and unloaded in a quicker time. So the entire freight operation cycle consists of movement on the track and then loading and unloading at the terminal. So we are taking a comprehensive view, so that once the freight is loaded, it has to reach its destination in a less transit time. So once you move all these freight goods in lesser time, it gives advantage to the stakeholders also, and it gives advantage to railway also, because we are able to turn around our wagon more frequently, and we are able to run more freight trains. This has already started giving result, and in the coming time we are going to focus on all those issues more, so that we will be able to increase our freight loading. Right now, previous years we have been thinking about the incremental growth. First time, this time, taking advantage of this very big challenge, we are working towards getting a quantum jump in freight loading. And in the later slides, I will be briefing you about that how we have taken steps also to enhance the network capacity, so that whatever we are doing today, we will be able to sustain it for a longer time. So the point which I am trying to make, that what we are trying today, it's not a short-term measure, it's basically a long-term measure and a comprehensive, integrated focus is being given on improving the freight, which includes improvement of goods set, more number of private freight terminals, more number of private sidings, and even expanding the network. Even the goods set, the private goods sets, they have been given permission to allow unlimited number of customers. So almost the private goods siding will also start working like a private freight terminals. So, and even the private goods side and private freight terminals, they have been allowed to handle the parcel traffic also. So a lot of liberalization in the policy as far as private goods siding, private freight terminal is concerned. So apart from making efforts to add more number of private goods siding and private freight terminals, we have also liberalized the policy to ensure that existing private goods siding and private freight terminals, they should be able to handle more freight traffic, and even they are free to handle parcel traffic. We have already launched a pilot project with Department of Post to provide door-to-door service to customers, and this we are going to expand further on pan-India basis, so that in cooperation with Department of Post, we will be able to provide goods from door to door, and we will be able to provide customer services from door to door. The next slide lists some of the issues pertaining to tariff rationalization. I will not go into details of all these items because this is listed in the slides and this will be given to you. But some of the important items I would like to mention. The first item is that withdrawal of busy season charge, 15% was the busy season charge, which we have withdrawn. That was withdrawn in October 2019, and that is going to continue. Then there are so many other tariff rationalization issues are given. 5% surcharge of 2 points mini rakes have been withdrawn. Discount for fly ash has been given up to 40%. Then alternate terminal schemes, some rebate has been given. Round trip traffic policy has been liberalized. Long lead concession and short lead concession have been given. I would like to just explain about long lead concession to encourage long lead traffic, that the coal traffic or iron ore traffic, it goes for a longer period. We have announced a scheme where if someone is carrying a long lead traffic, he will be able to get discount, and similarly some short lead concessions have been given. So these are some of the policy issues regarding tariff rationalization which has been taken in recent past. We have been talking to stakeholders, our business development units in all divisions and zones. They are talking to their local stakeholders, and based on the suggestions and recommendations of divisions and zones, we are rationalizing our tariff, and it's a continuous process. This slide only lists that what we have been concessions have been given so far, but I would like to mention that this is a continuous process, and we have set up a mechanism where we are in touch with our stakeholders on continuous basis, and based on the recommendations which we are receiving from divisions and zones, we will be taking further steps for tariff rationalization. Now, the next slide lists the lot of non-tariff measures have been taken, and this is again it's something which we have already done based on the discussions with stakeholders, and again I would like to mention that this is a continuous process, and we will be taking many more such measures which will attract more and more freight towards railway, and especially the non-conventional tariff. Some of the issues which I can mention about that pan-India transmission of railway receipts have been allowed. As you know, this during COVID period it was a challenge. It was difficult sometime to send this railway receipt. So this transmission have been allowed, that once you have loaded the train, you can transmit your railway receipt on electronic platform, and that can be used. Then easing out distance restrictions on mini and 2-port rakes have been given. Then regarding pet coke, reduction in permissible carrying capacity have been given. Then similarly steel pipes, reduction in permissible carrying capacity have been given. So these are some of the measures which we have already taken. As I mentioned earlier also that we have revised the private freight terminal. Then we have revised our general purpose wagon investment scheme policy. This general purpose wagon investment scheme policy has been liberalized, and it has been made very simple. Similarly, 2-point unloading permitted for automobile traffic, and limit of number of co-users and private siding removed. As I mentioned, now this private siding can work as a private freight terminals. And as I mentioned, all private sidings, goods said, private freight terminals have been opened for parcel traffic also. So this non-tariff measures and tariff measures which have been taken in last 2 months, you will appreciate that such large number of measures have never been taken in past few years. So these 2 months has really paid a dividend, and by getting motivation from this increase in freight loading even during this pandemic period, we are going to take some more measures, tariff measures and non-tariff measures, and for that we are in constant touch with our stakeholders, and very soon we are going to launch a business development partnership portal. Maybe within next fortnight we will be issuing this portal, business development partnership portal, and that portal will further facilitate dialogue between Indian Railway and all the stakeholders across various places in India, and that will also give further suggestions, and whatever suggestions we will be getting from stakeholders, we are going to take these measures. So the point which I am trying to re-emphasize, that whatever steps have been taken till today, that is only I can say that it's something which has started, and it's going to continue, and going to continue based on the suggestions from the stakeholders and recommendations from all the divisions and zones. So we are going to take it forward, and our objective is to ensure that there is a quantum jump in freight in this year and in the coming years also. So that is the way Railway is trying to work it out. The next slide gives the details about the new streams of traffic which has attracted towards Indian Railway in last 2-3 months. These items are listed. Some of the items which I would like to mention, that iron ore has been started loading from these new locations. Then steel pipes from Gandhidham area, industrial salt from Gujarat to UP, sugar traffic from Northeastern Railways, chilies from South Central Railway to Bangladesh in parcel ones. Similarly, fly ash, slag, cement, agro products through Kisan Rail. Then new automobile loading streams has started, and rice brand from Bihar to Kerala. So some of these new stream of traffic has started coming to Indian Railway, and as I mentioned earlier, this is only beginning, and we are going to focus on more streams of traffic, and we will see that we are able to increase our freight loading to a new level. Now, this slide gives some of the statistics, and the purpose of giving this slide just to mention that this April 2020 freight traffic was 65% of 2019 level, and though our food grain was almost double, but all other commodities, they really dropped in the month of April, and it started picking up due to lot of efforts made by Indian Railway. And in the month of May it was 79%, June it came to 92%, July it came to 95%, and then in August till today it is 7% more than what it was last year. So that gives a very encouraging result. And if you see the data more closely, food grain has almost doubled, and if you see the data about other goods, the last row, that has started showing a growth. So that is a very encouraging thing that we have been able to attract some other goods which was otherwise going through the road. So this effort we will continue. The next slide mentions about parcel cargo service, which I have already mentioned. This gives some of the figures that 4,700 timetable parcel trains with multiple en route stoppages have been run so far. Again, it mentions about the pilot projects with Department of Post, then dedicated parcel terminals at 50 places, and we are going to upgrade the technological solution for parcel management system, and we are going to have a robust modern parcel management system which will be built. Then about design of the freight wagons, we are changing the design in such a way that weight of the wagon can be reduced so that more freight can be loaded in that wagon. As far as private wagon policy is concerned, we have liberalized to a large extent. We are still open to liberalize it further based on the recommendations and suggestions from our division, zones and stakeholders. We are also working continuously. We are getting a lot of encouragement about the automobile traffic, and for that we are converting our old ICF coaches into NMG coaches so that we will be able to carry more automobile traffic. So these are some of the measures which railway has taken, and we are going to continue it further. The next slide gives about the details about the capacity enhancement. As I mentioned in the beginning, that we are increasing our freight, taking advantage of the challenges due to this pandemic, but we know and we want that the regular service of passenger train should be started as early as possible as the pandemic situation, COVID situation gets stabilized. But our effort is that even when the passenger trains are introduced, we should be able to run the same level of freight trains, and for that we are taking a continuous measure to enhance our capacity. And as I mentioned in the beginning itself, that during this COVID situation, taking advantage of the challenge when there were no passenger trains running, we have already completed more than 200 infrastructure related work. Those were required for improving the safety and improving the mobility, and taking it further, we have already made a plan up to March 2024, March 2024. And briefly I want to explain that our 34,000 kilometer network, which is 50% of the entire network, broad gauge, meter gauge, narrow gauge today is around 68,000 kilometer, and 50% of the network carries 96% of traffic, and remaining 34,000 kilometer, which includes some meter gauge and narrow gauge line also, they are only carrying 4% of traffic. So it is prudent that this 34,000 kilometer traffic, which carries 96% of traffic, has to be strengthened. And if you see, out of 34,000 kilometer, 11,500 kilometer network is still single line, which means almost 1/3 network is single line. And therefore, we have made a plan that by March 2024, all these 11,500 kilometer single line network will be converted into double line. And once you convert into double line, the line capacity increases by more than double. So you can just imagine that when this 11,500 kilometer line is doubled, our network capacity will increase more than 2 times. And then around 2,500 kilometer network, where doubling is already there, we want to go for third line, and if third line is also congested, we want to go for fourth line. So basically multi-tracking. So it's a planning that 11,500 kilometer single line has to be made into double line, and 2500 kilometer which is congested even after provision of double line or third line, they have to be provided with third line or fourth line as per requirement. So that is a massive plan, and we are moving towards that. Already we have done some of the work, and by March 2024 we are going to complete this work, and for this we have set up various milestones year wise, and those milestones I will be showing you in the next slide. But the point which I am trying to say, which I am wanting to mention, that whatever increase in the freight which we have started getting today, and that we have tried to get advantage of the challenge, we are going to sustain it for a longer time, and that is the way our plan is there. And we want to going to work on a integrated plan, because unless you have an integrated plan you can't succeed. We want to succeed. We want to almost double our loading. What the loading we are having? The loading we are having today around 1200 million ton, and we want to exceed around 2000 million ton by 2024. I know it's difficult, but we have to do something where we have to achieve our difficult targets, and that is the reason we are going for a integrated approach. And with this approach of capacity enhancement, when we will be having all our high density network and highly utilized network double line, and wherever congestion is there, third line and fourth line, absolutely it will be possible to increase our freight traffic to more than 2000 million ton in the year 2024. So that is the way we are trying to work it out. And some of the gauge conversion projects which are very important for providing the alternate route and connectivity, so that we have identified 2252 route kilometer, that also we are going to complete by March 2024. And before March 2024, by December 2023, all our entire network will be 100% electrified. And then we have identified 10 port connectivity projects. These are basically doubling projects, because ultimately you will have to evacuate your freight train from the port. So we have planned to complete 10 port connectivity projects by March 2024, and then completion of 51 coal connectivity projects, which have been going for a very long time. We have been able to work out all the details, and in most of these projects which have been identified, the land issues and forest issues have been sorted out, and these projects are progressing very well, and we are going to complete by 2024. So with this capacity enhancement work, and the way our business development units are working, and the way we are trying to liberalize our policy, we are going to give a big boost to our freight operation. And that is how we are just envisaging that by 2024 maybe we should be able to reach 2024 million ton. So that is our objective. By 2024 we should be able to reach 2024 million ton. With that objective we are working, and the next slide gives the various milestones, the projects which I mentioned in the earlier slide, that gives a milestone that what we are going to done in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 and 2024. What I mentioned in the previous slide, in addition to that, two more important things I would like to mention. And one is that much before 2024, our dedicated freight corridor will be commissioned. Our target is June 2022. June 2022, our dedicated freight corridor will be commissioned, which will be much before 2024. So by March 2024, apart from all these network capacity works, our dedicated freight corridor will be commissioned. And then before 2024, as mentioned, 2020 milestone and 2021 milestone, New Delhi Mumbai and New Delhi Kolkata route has already been upgraded to 130 km per hour. The previous speed was 110 kmph. Now the entire network has been upgraded to 130 km per hour, and now we will be able to run our passenger trains at New Delhi Mumbai and New Delhi Kolkata at 130 km per hour. 2021 complete all our golden quadrilateral and golden diagonals. They will be ready for 130 km per hour. So if we run our passenger trains at 130 km per hour, we are going to have a lesser transit time for our passenger trains, and we will be able to introduce more trains also. There will be some advantage in capacity enhancement also. 2022 Eastern Western DFC will be commissioned, and then Jammu and Kashmir connectivity will be completed, and multi-tracking of high density network 1730 km and doubling of highly utilized network 3154 km. So these are the milestones. Similarly, 2023 we are going to complete railway electrification, and we are going to complete northeastern states capital connectivity. Except Shillong, all the capitals of northeastern states will be connected in 2023. Shillong, there are some land issues which we are trying to sort it out, and the moment this issue is sorted out, we will be able to indicate the target date for connectivity with Shillong also. But except Shillong, all northeastern capitals are getting connected by 2023. Then some multi-tracking of HDN by that time it will be completed, some doubling will be completed, and 2024 all these projects will be completed. So 2024 what we are looking for, that our both dedicated freight corridors will be there. New Delhi Mumbai, New Delhi Kolkata will be fit for 160 km per hour. All golden quadrilateral, golden diagonal will be fit for 130 km. All highly utilized networks will be doubled, and high density network will be tripled or quadrupled wherever required. So with this type of network enhancement capacity, we are going to unlock our railway freight capacity, and railway is fully committed to reach that 2024 million ton by 2024. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Sir, thanks a lot for sharing this information. I'm sure my media friends would find